London is in a death spiral.
Move in and lock down the city.
Destruction is always the cure.
Greetings, Watchdoggers! Watch Dogs Legion has been out for a little over a week by now, and since its release, I've been scouring the streets of London, Sherlock Holmes style, looking for as many Easter eggs as I can lay my sweaty eyes upon. In the following video, I'll be showing off 23 Watch Dogs Legion Easter eggs that you might have missed. So if in-jokes, movie references and video game Easter eggs are your bag, there'll be plenty in here to keep you entertained. Be warned though, some of the locations shown in this video are a little on the spoilery side, so proceed with caution if you're yet to play the game. I figured, what with Watch Dogs Legion being set in London and all, that I should kick this list off with an Easter egg which has a uniquely London vibe to it. So let's head on over to St Dunstan in the East, a ruined church located just west of the Tower of London that's been turned into a beautiful city park. This aged abbey is a place full of beauty and history, and it's an oddly serene place considering you can find it smack bang in the centre of a bustling city. But that's not all that makes this location special. Hijack a cargo drone, float up to this section of the church, which is fenced off by spiked railings, and you might just spot a bright flash of red from behind that big grey vent there. Hop off the cargo drone onto the platform and take a closer look at the back of that vent, and you'll discover 7 little Queen's Guards models standing to attention beside a Union Jack and, for some reason, a bright red trainer. These tiny Queen's Guards may not be guarding Buckingham Palace right now, but they're still professional AF because I watched them for ages and they didn't move an inch. The city of Westminster is the next stop on this search for stashed secrets, and I hope you're ready to get wet, because to find this Easter egg, you're going to need to take a dip in the River Thames. Dive into the water on the right-hand side of Westminster Bridge, and you'll be able to spot a gap in the fencing that surrounds this small jetty's foundation. Squeeze through that gap and carry on swimming, and you'll soon be met by a perfect Easter egg, a small rowing boat that's full of cats. There's no clue as to how these cute kitties made it down here in the first place, considering the gap we swam through is way too small to fit that boat through, but there is actually a reason why these cats are here at all. You see, these floating felines are a reference to another amusing Easter egg, this time from Assassin's Creed Unity, where a similar boat full of cats, albeit real ones this time, could be found floating in a body of water in the Saint Marcel district. These soggy moggies aren't the only cats you can find hidden around Watch Dogs Legion though, and in fact there are dozens of spots in the game where you can find them stashed away. Plenty of those hiding places can be found in the many pubs that are dotted around London, but the most elaborate cat-themed Easter egg of all can be found in a secret back room of the Three Hawker Boys pub in Southwark. Enter the pub, head upstairs, and once you've finished admiring the fancy furnishings, chuck a spider bot on the floor and use it to push through this concealed cat flap at the back of the fireplace. Inside, you'll be greeted by countless pairs of blinking eyes as you discover a bizarre tomcat tea party with masses of boxes full of yet more moggies. While a cat wearing a top hat is a pretty unique sight, one of the most interesting artefacts in this room is actually this ancient map of London here. This map is decorated with tiny little paw prints, suggesting that these are locations where, if you're curious enough, you'll be able to find even more hidden cats. Just be careful if you do go on the hunt for them though, because we all know what curiosity does to cats.
With a firearm.
As Watch Dogs Legion is a Ubisoft game, it should come as no surprise to you at all that there are quite a few nods to other games from the developer in here, and of course, as we've already seen in point 2, there are plenty of references to the Assassin's Creed series of games. None of those references are more blatant than the one you'll find here, on the top of Battle Bridge Basin in the northwest of Islington and Hackney though. As part of the Gap in the Armour mission, you'll need to hack into this CTOS hub in order to disarm some traps in Hamish Balaji's flat. It's not a particularly dangerous mission, but if, like me, you decide to shoot at a pigeon for no reason at all, you might rile up some local Albion security guards who are pretty trigger-happy. Now, you could hang around and fight them, I suppose, but if you're up for a flamboyant getaway, run to this position right next to the hub and it should trigger a classic Assassin's Creed Leap of Faith animation. Oh, what a way to escape in style. We're heading to the Tower of London for this next Leap of Faith themed Easter egg, but as you'll soon see, this one hasn't gone quite as swimmingly as the last. Wander along the west wall and you'll soon spot this tower with a wooden beam protruding from the top of it. In many Assassin's Creed games, this type of structure marks a synchronization point, where an assassin can perform a leap of faith into a hay bale below. Unfortunately, on closer inspection of the base of this tower, it seems as though someone may have cheekily moved those hay bales without telling the assassin first, because along with a single red trainer, there's also a large red smear of blood on the floor. Blimey, what a Ken way to go. If you climb up to the top of this tower, by the way, you'll find the missing red trainer sitting on top of the wooden beam. Some people have suggested that these red trainers might be pointing towards a Mirror's Edge Easter egg, as they look fairly similar to the shoes that Faith wore, but in all honesty, I can't see that being the case. I mean, there's no way Faith would miss a puny jump like this. I bet that gap is well easy to clear. If you like the idea of an extended Ubisoft universe where all its games exist in the same world, this next Easter egg is way more specific in the way it connects Watch Dogs to Assassin's Creed. Fast travel to the Brewer Street tube station at night time, head down the porn-tastic alleyway opposite, and you should stumble upon the spawn point for a professional hitman NPC. If you see someone doing a murder right there in front of you, you're in the right place. So give the culprit a scan and, if you're lucky, you might just find a recruit that's been searching for descendants of Jacob Frye. Jacob Frye, if you didn't already know, is the male protagonist from Assassin's Creed Syndicate, which was also set in London in 1868. So it makes sense that he'd have ancestors here. There's a small chance that this might also tie in with the new Watch Dogs X Assassin's Creed crossover DLC that's due out as part of Legion Season Pass later down the line. But so far, all we know about that is that the main character in it is a member of the Assassin's Brotherhood and that she's called Darcy. This next raving reference is of the rabbit kind, so if you're a fan of Ubisoft's bonkers bunnies, you're going to want to get yourself a cargo drone and head to the base of the walkie-talkie building, which you'll find just north of St Dunstan in the east. To find this Easter egg, we're going to need to fly to the top of this tower, but because drones don't fly that high, we're going to need to get a little more creative. First things first, reach maximum altitude with your cargo drone. Once you've done that, scour the streets below for a news drone that you can hack, and once you're in control of one, you'll find that you're able to double the height of your flight. Now you can use the news drone to hop the top rail of the balcony and fly right inside the club, where, right by the lifts, you'll find a group of rabbids watching the news on TV. Well, some of them are watching the news, the others are acting like pillows for the others to rest on, which is both weird and kind at the same time. Watch Dogs? More like Watch Dogs. Right, so we've had a couple of references to other Ubisoft franchises, but what about references to other Watch Dogs games? Well, you'll no doubt be pleased to find out that there are lots of lovely links to the lore in Legion, and the first one of these can be found right here in the Lambeth District's Albion Station Kennington building. Stealth your way inside, unlock the doors to this sinister-looking side room, and you'll be able to enter a blood-soaked torture chamber that comes complete with a cryptic warning daubed on the wall in blood and a severed arm floating in the toilet. The true object of note here, though, can be found on the table opposite, and it is, if you hadn't already realised, the mask that belongs to Wrench from Watch Dogs 2. Wrench is actually going to be part of Bloodlines, the very first piece of campaign DLC for the Watch Dogs Legion Season Pass, and he'll be featured in that DLC alongside Aidan Pierce from Watch Dogs 1. The big question on my lips, though, is will Wrench still have both arms attached when we finally see him, or is it his lost limb that's been lobbed down the loo? There's another mask-based mystery surrounding a returning character next, and this time it's the return of Default, one of the antagonists from the original Watch Dogs game. In Bad Blood, the DLC campaign for the first Watch Dogs, Default is seemingly killed by gas after T-Bone hacks his hideout, but a series of notes and a secret underground base in Legion suggest that he might actually be alive. Head south from the Cannon Street tube station to this area just above the River Thames and you'll spot an orange ladder leading down into the water. Jump into the water here and just to the right you'll find a large door that's locked with a padlock. This door only becomes active once the in-game clock ticks around to 2 AM, so once it does, activate it as quick as you can and you'll be transported inside, where you'll stumble across a party that's full of mannequins. Have a look around and then head right to the back of the room, where underneath a table with some decks on it, you'll find a parcel fox box which contains Default's mask. Once you've collected it, you can wear that mask whenever you want, but the question remains, is this Default's actual mask, or does it belong to a copycat who's trying to fulfill his legacy? Want more Watch Dogs 1 and 2 references? This next couple of Easter eggs are pretty quick, but they provide concrete links between all three games, and the first one can be found right near the start of Legion in the DedSec base. Just enter the main room, head up the stairs to the right, and collect these headphones that are on top of the servers. Listen to the audio file they contain, which in this case is called The Upload CTOS 3.0, and you'll hear a brief history of CTOS and its developer, the Bloom Corporation.
Hello and welcome back to The Upload. In this episode, we're talking about CTOS 3.0, the city operating system that's now powering all of London. For those of you who need reminding, as if anyone does at this point, CTOS was first used in Chicago in 2014 and then San Francisco in 2017 before coming here to London.
Pop along to any high street bank in Legion for more company connections, this time in the form of share prices. The bank I visited was located on the west side of the Islington and Hackney district, but you'll find this reference on any building that has a scrolling stock market ticker board in the window. On here you'll spot familiar names like Bloom, Noodle, the Google-like company from Watch Dogs 2, and even Abstergo, the Templar-run business from Assassin's Creed.
Yo, do you need something?
CTOS AR. Data reconstruction in progress.
I'm going to stick with numbers for this midpoint Easter egg, as it's found by deciphering a curious code that's hidden in Sky Larson's secret basement lab in the Coming Home mission. Hack all of these pods here and you'll unlock 4 subject profiles, each one ending in a series of binary numbers. If you input the complete code from all 4 files into a binary to text translator, like what I did, you'll receive the following message: Jared thanks you for digging. Who this Jared character is so far a complete mystery. He's not mentioned anywhere else in the game, and he's certainly not one of the 4 subjects listed in these files, so your guess is as good as mine as to what this refers to. Perhaps it's just a cheeky message from whatever developer wrote this mission, or maybe it'll tie into a later piece of DLC. Whoever Jared is, one thing is for sure, this basement is creepy and I'd like to leave now, please. In this day and age, a game isn't a proper game unless it has a Dark Souls Easter egg, and Watch Dogs Legion is no different. If you want to find your very own Dark Souls bonfire, head to the South Bank Atrium on the northern tip of Lambeth and make your way around to the back side and up onto this platform, where, right in front of you, you'll spot a familiar looking bonfire complete with its very own burning sword. Well, okay, it's not a sword, it's just a red-hot bit of metal, but it's the thought that counts. Praise the sun indeed! Unless the Sun you're talking about is the UK's Sun newspaper, in which case you can toss that piece of filth into the bonfire where it belongs. Are any of you out there familiar with the French streamer Mr. MV? Because I wasn't until I stumbled across this rather detailed Easter egg which has been created in his honour. You're going to need to head right to the bottom left-hand side of the map for this one, in the southwest corner of Nine Elms. In this location you'll find a large Parcel Fox building, and right next to it an old train line that runs beneath a bridge. Make your way up to this walkway by the side of the tracks and you'll come across a secret passage that's hidden behind some ivy. Push your way through this ivy and you'll be met with the words coucou, which is the French for hello. Then, if you turn the corner, you'll see the words, "The Room of the Vieux Monsieur," written on the wall. The Vieux Monsieur is, of course, Mr. MV's nickname, aka the Old Mister. There's also a mural of Super Meat Boy on the wall, which is a nod to one of the games that Mr. MV is famous for playing, and best of all, if you drop a spider bot down this hole in the floor, you can hear Mr. MV exclaiming in disappointment when it explodes at the bottom. Listen, this is like the least hidden Easter egg in the game, but as a classic piece of British sci-fi, it would be totally amiss of me not to at least quickly mention that the police phone box here is a not-so-subtle nod to Doctor Who's TARDIS. Sure, the Doctor's box didn't have this much graffiti on it, but if you walk inside it and select the photo option, you'll find that, just like the real thing, this phone box is way bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. I'm staying with classic British TV for this next one because, while searching for eggs in the park next to the London Eye, I overheard a couple of old NPCs discussing everyone's favourite claymation couple, Wallace and Gromit. Cracking.
But it's great. I found all the old Wallace and Gromit shorts. I have myself an hell of an evening. I know my stuff. Yeah, Wallace and
We're going from real-world cinematic delight to a movie sequel from the world of Watch Dogs 2 with this next Easter egg. It can be found on the front of a bunch of cinemas around London, but this one can be found in the world-famous Leicester Square, aka the place where all the big red carpet movie premieres play. The Pictorama cinema here has quite a few films running, but one of them, Cyber Driver 2, has a very familiar name, because one of the missions in Watch Dogs 2 sees you stealing the script for the first Cyber Driver movie and then performing a cinematic AF escape in the actual Cyber Driver car.
Whee! Let's roll.
Whee!
Units, we're in pursuit of a stolen vehicle from the movie studio.
There's more four-wheel fun next with another nod to Watch Dogs 2, this time in the form of its automated Drive-R cars. This is a direct reference to the Uber-like Drive-R San Francisco app from Watch Dogs 2, as the app even has the same logo as the one you can see on the cars in Watch Dogs Legion. The name of that app is in turn a direct reference to Ubisoft's open-world car possession simulator Driver San Francisco, which is quite amusing considering that that game also has a character swapping mechanic, albeit with a vehicular twist. So this Easter egg almost brings things completely full circle. Shame I couldn't possess another car before I crashed this one into the Thames though, because it turns out that this Driver was more of a sin-car than a floatar. Instead of driving your Drive-R into the Thames like I did, why not use it to drive to the location of our next series of Easter eggs, which span a variety of interactive objects in the game world. The Seven Dials roundabout is located right here, just north of the Covent Garden tube station, and you'll get a musical treat if you drive around it, thanks to a number of pressure-activated panels built into the road. Go fast enough and you can make a pretty decent tune, but whatever you do, don't forget to go heavy on the percussion for that big finish. Oh, talk about a one-hit wonder. This next interactive object brings new meaning to the phrase tripping the light fantastic, because this musical walkway in Pottersfield Park lights up and plays music as you walk along it. If you want to visit this walkway for yourself, you can find it just below the southwest corner of Tower Bridge in Southwark. There's no music for this next Easter egg, but if you head to King's Head Yard, which is just south of the London Bridge tube station in Southwark, you will find a lot of interactive light panels to play with. Sadly, this location probably won't keep you entertained for very long, as there's not a huge amount you can do with these panels besides swapping between the words get, fun, light and happy. I mean, come on, you should at least be able to make one of them say boob or, like, show a picture of a knob or something. What a waste. Right next to the King's Head Yard, in the grounds of King's College, you'll find an actual King's Head, or a king-sized head at least, and this one has the rather creepy habit of following you with its gaze wherever you go. That's not the only piece of interactive artwork that's taken an interest in your activities though. You'll find an even bigger statue located in the northern west area of Camden, and this one also likes to keep a close eye on you. I've saved one last sinister statue for the final point on this list, as this one can only be found in the damp, dark catacombs found beneath the Tower of London. During the mission inside Albion, you'll need to escape from Albion forces by running through these catacombs, but be warned, this is the only time in the game that you can visit this location, so make sure you've witnessed this next Easter egg before the mission ends. If you thoroughly explore the first floor of these catacombs, you'll eventually come to this room, which contains a tombstone, a crumbling wall, and what I presume to be a statue of Queen Victoria. Now, this room is creepy enough anyway, but if you stand next to the statue of Queen Victoria, you can hear the muffled sobs of a woman coming from the wall behind her. Not only that, but if you leave the room and re-enter from another door, Vico there will have magically turned to face you. Now, I'm sure there are some skeptics out there who probably think that this is a trick of the light or something and not the haunted statue of a long-dead monarch, so here's some definitive proof. I caught her moving with my own 2 eyes. Oh god, that is a hell of a lot of nope and way more than enough spooky catacombs for me. Goodbye.
London is in a death spiral.
And that, my friends, is that. Watch Dogs Legion is still a relatively new release at this point, so chances are high that there are many more Easter eggs and references out there in post-Brexit Britain for me to find. Feel free to share any Watch Dogs Legion secrets you think you might have found in the comments below, and if we discover enough of them, I'll feature them all in a follow-up video later down the line. If you're a fan of the Watch Dogs series and Easter eggs in general, why not have a look at my other Watch Dogs Easter egg videos, which are on screen and clickable right now, and do like this video and subscribe for daily videos from Eurogamer. Goodbye and good Easter egg hunting.